is true? What is true? What is true? Truth is love.
Still one of the hottest themes ever.
It is, and I love it so much because it literally coincides with the title. But yes, so now that we got the beauty of my theme song out of the way, the theme music, the intro, hello and welcome to another episode. I have lost count because I have not been here, and I do apologize for that, of Truth, Honesty, and Transparency. Today's topic is going to be trials and tribulations, and how did you come out of the darkness to seek the light again? I am Kelja, the Princess Goddess, and my co-host is...
D-Ray, the producer.
Yes, we work so very well together.
Yes, we do.
It's an everything.
And even though it's been a minute, it's almost like riding a bike, you know?
Yes.
No doubt.
Okay, so a few of the trials that I have been through this year, last year going into this year, is of course my dad passed in August of 2022.
Sorry to hear that.
Oh, well, thank you. And it's all sorting out the business ends of family affairs is what causes the most stress.
There is no manual. There is no book. There is no training that will prepare you for the utter bullshit that happens after somebody passes away in your family. And then it's like the vultures come out.
Yes.
Everybody comes out. And like, I was talking to a friend of mine, and, her mom just passed recently. Mm-hmm. And, she was telling me that her next door neighbor came over and took her mama's food processor out of the house. It's just like, do people think this is like a free-for-all?
The food process?
They took the food processor.
Yeah, and then...
How you gonna take somebody ninja?
Is her ninja now?
I guess so.
But the point of it is it's like people are so desensitized to the emotional bearings and the weight that situations like that have on people, or they use it to their advantage because nobody's thinking clearly at that moment. Right now, you're trying to process life without the person that just passed. So why not go in there and pillage the village?
But you know what? That's so grimy, and it's not just the people around you, the sharks that are around you. The funeral home, they're trying to get theirs. Any and everybody that's connected with it is trying to get theirs, and sometimes it's just kind of disgusting.
It is. And I literally, when I had the pleasure of being nominated, the person that was going to make all of the arrangements, and I literally told the funeral home, the price is going to be the price. Mm-hmm. This is what I'm giving you, and you work within that. There is no room for negotiation. I think the only thing that we had to pay extra for was extra death certificates. Mm-hmm. But I set the cap at $10K. That was it. And we came in right at like 7 something. Mm-hmm. Because I'm not going to go all out. And I didn't even use the church. I used the funeral home's chapel.
Right.
Because I'm just not about to pay something extra. And then there is a pastor in the family. So he did it. And it was my brothers that wanted to donate, give him something. I ain't give stuff about giving him give a shit. You claim that this was your favorite uncle, then do favorite nephew type things. The only person that we did give something to was my aunt, because she had moved so far away. They were like oil and water, but the best of friends.
Right.
But she moved so far away, and she came up like the last 2 weeks of his life. She was just here helping us, giving us some form of relief. So we gave her, as they say in the church, a love offering.
Mm-hmm.
She didn't ask for it, but
Right.
because she was so selfless,
Yeah.
we determined that, you know, she deserved that. But if you volunteer to do certain things, then you're volunteering. That's what volunteering is. It's without pay.
True. But I like the 3 times in my life where I had to have a direct role in some of the proceedings.
Mm-hmm.
Like I said, you're never really prepared, and it's a difference between having insurance, because everybody should have burial insurance. Everybody should have a life insurance policy. You should have some kind of plan. But the main thing for me was like, and I guess because my folks at the time had no idea, we didn't even know about the opening and the closing of the grave. We didn't know that was like a G off top. You know what I mean?
Oh.
You know what I'm saying? And nobody knew that. I will never forget. I had a cousin that passed away in Delaware, and they had to fly him back to North Carolina, you know, for the service. Continental Airlines, God rest their raggedy souls, made us buy him a ticket. Like he was sitting up in the plane and he was down there in the cargo hold. We had to buy that brother a ticket to get him home to be buried.
I would have got a refrigerated truck, wrap that, mummified that thing, and put him in the back, secure with dry ice. Because the things that people do to capitalize on the worst moments of your life,
right?
And the fact of the matter is, there was a will, there's insurance, that's all that. But then you have people that believe just because they were there during certain moments or there for a tenure, they deserve things. And that's what we're kind of going through right now. My father's girlfriend thinks that she deserves way more than what she's freaking worth. And if you leave it up to me, she wouldn't get a damn thing.
Right.
Because that's just who I am. Like, I don't even know you. And yet, if he cared enough about you, then he would have made certain stipulations and certain arrangements and reservations for you, but that didn't happen. Right. So apparently you was just what it was.
Right.
So yeah, we're still going through that. And the bad thing about it is dragging on. Our last court hearing for last year was like the week before Thanksgiving.
Wow.
Then you move into, now we have one that's at the beginning of February, but it's beginning all to be too much because you want something that is not yours. You want something that, you know, frankly, and look, how do they say? You're trying to come up off the back of a dead man that you was probably only there for one reason and one reason only, but you're making it to be more than what it is. And we can't validate or verify anything because my dad was a private person.
Right.
And when he came to Texas to see us, he didn't bring you, so you didn't mean much of anything, and none of us had met you. So, but yeah, we're still going through that, and it's more of, like, I've accepted the fact that he's gone. That's done. And most people, the reason why they continue to mourn is because they haven't accepted the fact that that part of their life is over. Once you accept the fact that the person is gone, then you can begin to heal. So I've accepted that fact. It's just the aftermath of people believing that they deserve things that you don't deserve a damn thing.
You know, and that was my question. That was one of the things that I was going to ask you was, can the healing process begin knowing that you still have unresolved issues? Because in my view, in my privy, that healing don't until that last check or that last piece of paper gets signed, it's not over yet. You know what I mean? You're still in the process. Well, so how are you processing it, grieving, letting go while you still gotta deal with this? How do you do that?
Because I have mastered the art of compartmentalization. This is business. what's going on right now is business that's an extension of something personal. So I no longer have the luxury to bring my personal emotions of my father's death into things that are going on a business sense. So yeah, that's the line down the middle that I've always had. So yeah, my dad is dead. He's buried. He's resting in heaven or hell, wherever the hell Curtis Connor is. He's there having the time of his life because his soul is at rest.
Right.
However, we're just dealing with the business aspect of it. And because I'm so shrewd, my brothers have taken a step back in allowing me to handle it. Because you get nothing from me, and I'm asking to prove that you live there. I need to see at least one piece of mail. For every item that you show me that prove, I may grant you $50,000. But she has yet to do that. Show me where you have accompanied him to any doctor's visits. You were with him and you didn't even know he had cancer. And how did you not know that? And that is supposed to be your man. And she was pissed because one of his insurance policies that he had, it still had my stepmom as the beneficiary. And she was like, how is this even possible? I'm like, shit, I don't know. That was your man. You did, like, it's just, it's a lot of confusion. A lot of things are convoluted, and you know, you're having to take, and like I said, I hadn't seen my dad in a while. So you believe that just because I wasn't inserted in his life, that you can just tell me anything, and I'm just supposed to believe it. But you never met me, and you should know that I don't believe shit that I hear, not from somebody I don't know. Right. And even if it is someone I know, I am the person that verify, and then I'll think about trusting you.
Right.
But it is no trust but verify shit with me. It's nothing like that. It's a whole verify. And if you have 10 consistencies of being truthful and honest, then I may trust you.
Right. And also, I guess, depending upon where your dad lived, and I guess in some cases, it's a federal thing too. I remember I had a family member that it was one of my favorite uncles. He used to love that dude. And he divorced my aunt, got married. He got remarried, had another family, whatever. He passed away, and when it came time to collect the Social Security, the first wife gets it.
Yes,
and
the
that's
first
federal.
Wife, yes, the first wife gets it, and if she had been there for over like 10 years. So if your aunt had been with him for 10 years, unless she vacates the right to receive it, it then passes to the second wife.
Right.
Oh, we did all of that. I mean, when I say all of it, and my dad was married before my mom.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So, and again, you know, just because you are there doesn't mean you deserve certain things. And to me, like I told her, I was like, were you here for him, or were you here to benefit the rewards of being inserted into his life? Because that's two different things. Right. And I even told you know, you could have played this very well, and we may have been a little bit more generous with you if you had said you wanted nothing. Set your ass down there and cried the way you did. And when we tried to give you something, you kept saying no. We may have been a little bit more generous with you, but no, you're contesting, and you're obsessed about money that you didn't earn, and money that is not yours, and insert yourself in a family who didn't even know you existed. So it's just, it's a lot. And of course, you know, my dad lived in Pennsylvania. He lived in Philadelphia. Well, Villanova Township. But he had houses here. He had a condo in New York and something in Maine. I think a little cottage in Maine. But the fact of the matter is none of us want that stuff. So all that can be sold.
Right.
But me thinking always about the money, I'm like, hell no. These are going to be investment properties. Who... I'm not getting quick money now when I can reap the long-term benefits. We all can.
Hey, first of all, kudos to you on your business acumen. I'm just keep it real with you. That's something that's like a Jedi sixth sense with you. So I commend you on that. However, personally, I want to know, how are you?
Oh,
that's got to be like, because at some point you can't compartmentalize it. At some point you're gonna run out of space.
He said, "How? What did he say? Home
Somebody
me?
said, I'm sure that meant how many brothers and sisters are there?
How
So how,
man?
yeah, how many of y'all are, how many siblings do you have? And it's really just all of y'all versus the girlfriend, basically.
One. It's 5 of us. Me being the only girl. Last man 5, with me being the only daughter.
So
And here's a fun fact: I'm the
Oh.
only girl child and the only girl grandchild. So yeah.
Dang. Spoiled right.
Actually, no. No, not at all. And let me tell you why I am not.
All right, I'm. You know what you said about saying 10 truthful things, and
Yes.
then I'm gonna trust you. I think you might be on number 9. So let me listen to see what you about to say.
The reason why I am not is because my grandfather and dad told me that I would be, at a young age, that I may grow up to be a good looking woman, that I would be beautiful. And I'm like, okay, cool. He was like, but that's not going to get you anywhere. And you cannot rely on anyone, male or female, your parents or grandparents, to take care of you. You have to forge your own path. And at that point, I had to earn certain things. Now, the only thing that was beneficial is that I didn't have to share. So whatever they bought for girls was strictly for me, nothing more, nothing less. It was all mine. Nothing to be shared. But as far as earning certain privileges, that was without a given. Nothing was given to me just because I was the only one of this gender. Nothing. I couldn't weasel my way out of anything. I couldn't get this. It wasn't like that. I just didn't have to share, which kind of made me a little selfish at some points, but never spoiled.
I don't have the energy to debate you on that.
What, to say that I'm selfish or I'm spoiled?
Yeah, because right, Blast Man. I don't even know which one of the Blast representatives that is.
But what I'm saying,
I'm
wait a minute, are they asking me, like, am I little selfish or a little spoiled? Or is it a culmination of both?
once again, what did we say before the show? Semantical acrobatics.
Yeah, but what I'm asking, I'm serious, because think about it, I've never had to share. So
Neither have I, because I'm an only child. So yeah, I get it.
So you understand what I'm saying? I
Absolutely.
never had to share anything. Whatever I got, whatever was bought for the female persuasion was all mine.
Right.
Now, spoiled? No. I don't believe I was spoiled. Now, understand, you taking it from my perspective. In my perspective, I don't believe I was spoiled because I believe I could have got more. I should have gotten more. But all of the male trauma that I had to endure, the male testosterone that was trying to dominate, its present and exacting standards that I had to battle my way through and set my flag and say, I'll be down.
You know what? Okay. All right. I'm gonna leave it alone.
I'm just saying.
Because as speaking as an only child,
Mm-hmm.
I know that there is a thin line, a very, very thin line between spoiled and selfish.
Thank you. And especially, but that's the thing. It's not our fault that we were the only one. We were one of one.
That's a fact.
So with that being said, that things that seem to be spoiled is because we didn't have to share.
That's a fact.
So those lines are really blurred. And I got everything that I needed. And maybe 85% of what I wanted. And within that, there were certain parameters that were set up for me to earn those things. So I would be appreciative.
Facts.
So, and to me, that's not spoiled. Just because I asked for it and I got it, no one knows the work that went into to get that. For instance, every summer, we literally had to read a book, and this came from my English professor, honestly. We had to read a book, a chapter every day, and write a book report on it. Which I guess is the reason why I'm so great with semantical acrobatics. because we didn't have a choice. And it would
Right.
come back with all the red lines and all this other stuff and question marks is asking, is this the question or are you making a statement here? And what's the context behind this? This needs to be proven. It needs to be a proven fact. Right here is you're stating this as more of subjective. No, it needs to be objective, but with clear facts stating behind that why you believe. I mean, yeah, when you grow up with an aunt that is a college professor. Yeah.
But at the end of the day, that's still an advantage because that prepared you for, you probably was a dominant writer in high school and in college. You know what I mean? You were ahead of the game.
And then when you grow up with a mom that is in investment banking, everything that you earned, a percentage of it has to be put back for a rainy day or your discretionary fund or emergency fund. So if I had $10, 2 of that was for me to go spend, but the other 8 I had to make a marketing strategy or an investment portfolio with my damn $10. I mean $8. And a 13-year-old, a 10-year-old shouldn't have to learn those lessons.
Yet. What are they doing now? They have financial literacy courses for 13-year-olds because you have the earning potential for teenagers today is probably triple or quadruple what it was when you were a teenager, and it certainly was by when I was a teenager. So yeah, you have to have that. So
you shouldn't have to have learned the value and the risk and the volatile state of the stock market.
I wish I would have.
And that's not even that. With my dad being an engineer, math and physics was the thing. So there were a few subjects, economics, English, any math, and any type of science that there was no reason why we should have failed.
Right.
So yeah, it's like the pressures that they were putting on you. And then when you find out that your daughter is smarter than the others that you spawned.
Oh yeah. Now the real Jedi training begins. This is the one.
It's like, no, make this make sense to me. He will put this entire equation and I have to solve for X, but it's backwards. So the thing of it is the equation will be solved. I have to dissect it and tell him what formula he used. Who does that? However,
in hindsight, that was something that probably was missing out of my personal development. Because similar to you, I had a high aptitude at a young age, and in some cases a lot higher than all of the people that were around me. So it got to a point that if I ran into a problem, an algebraic equation that I couldn't solve, there was no help. I will never forget. It was a whole line. My mom took. It was one system of equation. My mama took a whole sheet of paper trying to solve this thing for X. There it is. Go turn it in tomorrow. Whole thing was wrong.
See, that was
and in red letters. Don't ask your mama next time. Ask me.
So that's the thing. There came deductive reasoning. If we had a situation, we literally had to tell my grandparents or parents the possible solutions. And not only that, the risk factors of that, which makes me very good at my job now today, because I can see the big picture and then compartmentalize and then work the problem that way to come for the best solution for each segment and then draw them together. But you ask me how I'm doing great. You ask me how am I coping? The things that I got from those relationships, from that relationship, is what I cope with to get through it. And those same mechanics that I garnered from my grandparents and my dad is what I'm using to solve for X for this problem.
So we are at 25 after. This is a good time to go ahead and do the blast artist of the week. Because when we come back, we'll talk about what else, other trials that hit the old battleship towards the end of 2022.
Like say, you sank your battleship.
Ain't nobody sinking your battleship, Kelja.
Oh, that's impossible. But I'll let you take it away with the Blast Artist of the Week introduction.
All right, so we have a good friend of mine who will be interviewed this Saturday on the Liftoff Indie Music Podcast. This is Mike Jeezy with Energy.
Make sure you keep that same energy. Make sure you keep that same energy. Make sure you keep that same energy. Make sure you keep that same energy.
Mike G coming through the crowd raw, big dog. You don't really wanna feel these claws. See, God loves me anyway, despite these flaws. So I gotta get a little buck while yeehaw. My God giving y'all the blessing, so I never tap out. No time for stressing. I'm confessing that I'm still learning lessons. When I get knocked down, get up stepping, cause I know how my blessings flow. Started from the ground down to the tiptoe. Holy Spirit, you don't wanna miss this flow, cause I'm talking about you and the whole trio. The Father's on top and they call me mijo. For my Latino, just Jesucristo. My God's bilingual, so if you didn't know, I'ma speak English, mi amigo.
Make sure you keep that same energy. 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 Make sure you keep that same energy.
Somebody tell me whose man's is this? Flip flop, they crisscross, wanna jump when they plotting the whole twist. Well, hey, Mr. Big Stuff, now tell me who you think you are. Call Gene Knight, cause you know you're dismissed. I got a lot of enemies, they draining my energy, but tell them my energy is inside of my energy. If I'm at a dead end, I'm counting on real friends, the type that will help you and open the Red Sea. Never make a promise that you can't keep. Nobody really likes a bluff, that's a wedge so deep. If you're gonna repent, then I suggest an upkeeping. If that energy drained, then throw away the whole thing. Sometimes you gotta cut the cord to keep moving forward, to be a valuable piece within this game and board. What's done in the dark is brought to the light, it's heads or tails. So tell me how you call it, alright? Listen, hot or cold, ain't no man in the middle, cause if it gets spit out, ain't no stopping this riddle. You're headed on a dead end, on a one way. I know you see the sign, read it what the Lord say. On a periodic table, I'm an element, and me and God got a chemistry. So next time you ever think about attacking me, well, make sure you keep that same energy.
Make sure you keep that same energy. Make sure you keep that same energy. Make sure you keep that same energy.
Yeah, I'm living for God for real. I go fishing for real. I'm like a Navy SEAL, toting that Pelican bill. I'm just a kid full of Skittles, no riddle, it's simple. I love it with all of my energy, I get empty. In the forefront, I'm up on my tippers. I think I saw Jesus in my dreams. Oh, you don't believe all that sweet honey, please. I get hyped through the night, all my energy gon' spike. Oh, I think I see the light.
Make sure you keep that same energy. 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 Energy.
And that was Mike G with Energy. And him and a lot of other artists are featured on blastmusic247.com. Yeah, I had to pull that one out of the ether. I didn't know what to say right quick. But if you are a spoken word artist, rapper, or even a stand-up comedian and you're ready to get your art out there, why don't you go by www.blastmusic247.com, fill out a free profile, and let's get your art out there. Blastmusic247.com, changing the industry one artist at a time. And we're back. We are back with Kelja, the Princess Goddess. I'm D-Ray, the producer, and tonight we might be winging it a little bit, but we are talking about trials and tribulations and how we get through it and get to that light. And when we left off, we were talking about the thin line between being selfish and being spoiled, and we were just going to agree to disagree. As somebody who grew up spoiled, I know what spoiled is, and I can sense the dark energy of spoiledness. But I don't have the energy, and we'll talk about why I don't have the energy a little later. But shout out to you and your family and everybody that's having to go through this situation. It's tough. We've lost a lot of people over the past couple of years, and just dealing with loss is something in and of itself.
It is. It's like the last 6 years from 2016 to 2022 have been some major losses, be it family, because my grandmother passed in 2018, and then a week later, one of her cousins passed, and then a week after that, my aunt passed.
Wow. And
then at the Thanksgiving of 2019, my other aunt passed. And then, of course, COVID, how many people passed there.
Right.
And then in 2021, another one of my mom's sisters passed. So their family is like taking a hit left and right. But the beauty of that is that tragedy hadn't struck the family since 1994 when my cousin passed. So I guess it was like, okay, we've saved you guys enough. You've been covered enough. It's time to make room for others,
Right.
Because the thing of it is that when my father died, my nephew had just had a baby, a boy.
Oh.
So it's like he moved out of the way to make room for someone else. You have to look at the bright sides of this. I don't know what the bright side of death is, other than the fact that they lived their life, good, bad, or indifferent. They lived it to their own fulfillment and understanding as whatever they felt that the successes would be for them.
Right.
So, but yeah, it's been a weird, because another thing, another loss.
Oh boy, buckle up. So now you're dealing with this. Now we're going into the Christmas season, Thanksgiving, Christmas season. And what else happens?
Right. So we come back from the Thanksgiving holidays, and then I get laid off.
Oof.
So this is right after Thanksgiving, but going into Christmas, going into the new year. And it's great that I am good with money.
Right.
But I am not one to not have anything coming in. Right. And at this time, I was looking at investment properties and other things, plus trying to have the properties that I told you earlier renovated. So they could be Airbnbs, or they could be other. I think so. I got to strategically do this because one, I want constant income.
Facts.
So one is going to be a rental property. Two, like the cottage in Maine, and I know for a fact the condo in New York is going to be money. That's going to be a steady stream. That's going to be steady stream since the rental market there is so high.
Insane, yeah.
Yet the luxury of that place, and once it gets renovated, it's going to be rare because it's not going to be exorbitant, but it's going to be just slightly under market value, so I can keep someone in there of quality class.
Right.
Yeah. So I mean, I have a strategy. I'm always strategizing.
Absolutely. So here's a tie-in question. We talked about your upbringing. We talked about how, your father, your grandparents, your mom, your aunt, all these people prepared you for life. They prepared you for the coming battle. Do you think that made you an excellent entrepreneur and a bad employee?
I believe so.
Because, you know what I mean? Because it's like, you're not a drone. You're not a robot. So
at all. And it's like because of that, two things. because I know when something is bullshit. For one, like you can't bullshit me because I know the follow-up questions to ask and to collapse your house of cards. And secondly,
Facts.
I'm going to speak my mind. Period. It's like the senior VP when I was the AVP for the last company. She was just asking me questions. She was like, "Okay, so how do you like it here?" And she was just asking me all these questions. So I said, "Okay, so let's just cut to the chase. What is it that you're getting at? Because these questions are frivolous when you can just tell me what it is that you want to know. Let's not do this. Let's not play games because that's not what I do." And then she was like, "Well, I heard." I said, "See, that's the thing. You heard." That is how a conversation, rumors get started and conversations get thwarted and misled, is because you're talking about what you heard. I don't care about what you heard. Tell me what you feel.
Absolute facts.
So, but that's the thing. People, I've learned that people don't always know how to receive me. It's because I am a straight shooter. I'm not about to bullshit you. I'm going to say what it is that I need to say surrounding the actions that you have presented. And it's not about my opinion, it's what you're giving me. And that right there, so it's all on you. What I'm saying is all on you. And that is disarm people, or actually, they just doesn't know how to take a little dread-headed girl. They don't understand how to do that.
Yeah.
And it's a gift and a curse to someone that actually can see exactly where I'm going and understand how I think and the method behind my madness. It's a beautiful thing because they know that I'm about to elevate the situation, the company, them. It's great. But for people that are insecure and very defensive and closed to learning and open to new experiences, then they're going to shield themselves. They're going to create a narrative to where I am the issue.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely. And I think that, it's not so much as I think being direct and asking questions may frighten some people. But when it's backed up with intelligence, when it's backed up with, some cognitive thinking and some strategy thinking, that's what intimidates people. That's what it is, because a lot of times people who are unqualified to be in the positions that they are, the last thing they want is someone to ask them a question that they don't know.
Yes, I remember I worked for this employer and I went for the director's position, but he hired someone else. And that someone else was the most apathetic, incompetent, ineffective person that I had ever met. You couldn't go to her with anything. Now, these are just some of the trials that I've been throughout my career. I couldn't go to her with anything. So when I went to talk to him, I was like, "Why did you hire her?" No, that's the wrong question. Because I know why you hired her. You hired her because you can control her, which is why you wouldn't hire me, because you know you can't control me. I said, if I go to her with the question, she can't answer it. He said, "Well, if she doesn't have the answer, you can come to me." I was like, "How, when you get the majority of your questions answered from me?" So what good are you in this position?
Right.
And then he was like, "That's not what I was expecting." I said, "You asked for the truth, and I gave you the bare bones truth that you are in this position as a senior director. I would look at you as spineless, because instead of putting someone in that position that will challenge you and force you to do your job and grow, you want to be complacent. And that is only someone I see as a coward who needs to actually put if something screws up, you're going to use her as the scapegoat, because you couldn't be able to use me as a scapegoat, because I will say, this is what I told you, you chose not to." I remember when I was just starting out and I went to this, I think she was the regional, she was somebody, I went to her with an issue and I tried to tell her, this is what it needs to be done. So anyway, we were in a meeting and then she brought up that same position that I was talking about. And then I just looked there. I was like, but I tried to tell you this 3 weeks ago, but you wouldn't listen. Of course, all the other people around me that are intimidated by titles, because I don't give a shit about the title. Mm-hmm. To me, it's the person. The person make the title. The title is for shit.
Absolutely.
So, and then it was like, how could you say that to Judith? With my damn mouth and thought and free speech is how I said that to her. And I stand beside everything I said. At this time, I was a contract person. Mm-hmm. I was on contract. And then I had another incident where I told this woman, I don't feel the need to come to you to have you look over my work when you're the one that made the mistake. So you don't know what's right at all. Mm. Mm. And then, of course, 3 weeks later, I got let go from that contract.
You know, sometimes it's just kind of laughable, especially when you see it coming. Mm-hmm. You know, it's not like this is not going to be a shock. You know,
but the thing about this one, the last one, I did not see it coming. I did not see it coming because the people who were under me learned so much from me and started doing their jobs better. They started to be able to train their staff that was under them in the correct manner, so they were able to understand the complete realm of the business that we're in. Not just doing their job, but asking and being able to do root cause analysis is the reason why the problem was created. Mm-hmm. I gave my managers, senior managers, and directors and senior directors room to have their voice heard. And then when they present me with an issue, I will ask, okay, so what is the possible outcome? What are the possible risks and losses if those risks were to come in fact? So what I did was I taught them that not only is there an issue, but you have to come to me with at least 2 solutions. I need to know the solutions that you have. What's the mitigating factors that's in there? What do we stand to gain by if this is successful, and what are the risks and what are the pending outcomes of those risks? So when they would type up their reports to me for different proposals and initiatives, it had every key bullet point in it that I needed in there. So I can then speak to it on another level, or she get pissed because I let them speak to it. They did the work. Why would I speak for them?
Right.
Well, most people don't understand my method. I don't take credit for things that my team has done. Mm-hmm. Even though I know it's me, they get all the recognition. I just need the appreciation.
Wow. So at this point in the game, now, if we're keeping score, mm-hmm. Dad passed away in August, mm-hmm. laid off in December.
No, November.
November, right. I remember that.
November 28th, I think. Yeah, November 28th.
It was the 28th of November. Yeah, never mind.
It was the 3rd of September.
But, so how did you come into 2023? What were your expectations for 2023?
Well, the first expectation was I'm expected to land another position. But what I realized from that is I do better when it's just me and a few collaborators, not me when I'm responsible for others. So I had to accept that part. Even though I may be a great leader and I lead by example, my methods of leading, when you report to someone else and you have other people reporting to you, the lines get blurred and there's convolutions, because if I know that Monique is reporting to me, mm-hmm. and Crystal is my boss, which makes her the VP or the SVP, why the hell are you talking to Monique without me present? Mm-hmm. And see, that's my thing. You can't say that you're a stickler for the chain of command and then go outside of that and then feel some type of way when I call you out on. That's right. Not how that works, at least not for me. Don't say right. something, and that's the thing. The accountability piece for adults, that doesn't sit well with people. I'm okay to be held accountable. If I did it, I did it. And I'm pretty sure that the reason that I did do it is because I wanted to.
Yeah. No, you ain't spoiled at all. But go ahead, keep on going. See what I did there?
I did, but you understand that is
I get it.
But you understand that's the basic reason why people do what they do is because they wanted to.
Facts.
So, and that's it. I just take all that bullshit off of it and brass tacks it. The brass tacks is because I wanted to.
Right.
Now, how I made you feel and in doing that,
right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do I own accountability for your feelings? Probably what triggered it, but you own the outcome. So of how you're feeling about it if you don't tell me. But anyway, that's neither here nor there.
Right.
My thing of it is that the only expectations that I put are on me to learn from different situations, good, bad, or indifferent. And try not to make those same mistakes. But the problem is in this situation, I didn't make any mistakes.
Right.
The only thing that I do know is I need to be mindful of the opportunities that come my way. So now I am interviewing with 3 powerhouse healthcare firms. And now I'm looking things out of the options that I have and what benefits me more so than what I need to take out of desperation.
Right.
And I find when I do take situations out of desperation, be it anything, those were the ones that were the worst to me in the end.
Yeah. Always.
Because I wasn't able to think clearly as to why I was taking it. I just knew that situation satisfied a need. I do realize that the tribulations that I can contribute to, that I was a contributing factor, that I was culpable for, is because it was haste. It was in haste and determining those things. I can pretty much deal and navigate through the ones that I had no control over. It's the ones that I do have control over that keeps me up at night. As to why I took this. And you're excited about certain things in the beginning.
Right.
And then when you actually get into the thick of it, everything sounds good in theory.
Right.
Until you're in the thick of it is when you realize that, oh shit, what have I done?
Oh, absolutely.
So so now I expect me to slow down, to use the tools that was instilled in me.
Absolutely.
And literally sewn into my DNA to actually make better choices.
Right.
And the fact of the matter is that although I didn't do anything, I saw it coming.
Yeah.
Because one of the issues with that position is one of the people who were reporting to me, she was intimidated by me. But just because she was intimidated doesn't mean I'm intimidating.
That's true.
But she never gave our report superior. She never gave our relationship a chance. Now, every last other person under me was thriving, but she wasn't. Right. Now, is that any fault of mine or hers? She felt she couldn't talk to me, but she never tried to. Right. So when that got back to the senior VP and we had a conversation, my name was already tarnished because of who I am. When I'm at work, and I told her, I'm a woman of very few words. And when I do speak, I mean exactly what I said. I'm very much so exacting. Right. So when I speak, it speaks volumes. Right. She took that personally, but I told you who I was in the interview. And I have to quote Kevin Hart on this. You knew who I was when you met me, you bitch. You did. Because my archetype for my personality is an architect, which is a visionary. It's in the visionary realm of the archetypes of personality, but I'm a visionary. But I'm not a daredevil, which means I'm not a risk taker. I don't do uncalculated risk. As an architect, everything that I do is calculated, it's well thought out, it's planned. And anything that's going to get me the maximum gain is what I'm going to go with. I even tell people that I have no more use for you. You don't serve me any purpose anymore. And if that's the case, then we might as well go ahead and part ways, because you're no longer an asset. You're now become a liability. And I don't respond well to liability people. I don't do that. Because now you're provoking me. My spirit animal is a dragon. So, yeah.
For any context on what she just said, feel free to go back on YouTube to watch previous episodes of Truth, Honesty, and Transparency, because we had that spirit animal conversation. We've had that liability conversation. So none of this should be a surprise to anybody. But I do have a question. Yes, we got 10 minutes left.
Yes.
And it's a question that I want you to think about for a little bit, but then I got a couple of minutes to say some things.
Okay.
I want to ask you how your health is right now. And the reason is because 2022 was an eye-opening year for me personally. And I should set some context. 2021, I had a really good friend of mine, my brother-in-law, passed away of an unexpected health episode, right? Which made me really, really concentrate on what was going on in my health. And at the time, you know, I was trying to work out, but I really wasn't serious. You know, and I live I'm not that, with my skill set and what I do, I'm not very active. I'm behind a computer most of the day, you know, whether I'm making music or I'm editing videos or whatever. And so, but I noticed that, you know, my weight started becoming an issue. And so early 2022, went to the doctor, and it was like, okay, I need to figure out what's at the core of this, because it's not like I'm sitting here smashing 3 bags of chips and, you know, drinking a 2-liter Pepsi. You know, what's going on? Well, come to find out that I think it was February or March, my thyroid, they found that my thyroid, for whatever reason, stopped working, and they didn't know why. You know, it was like, for a large percentage of people in you know, in the world population, the thyroid just kind of stops. And when it stops, your metabolism slows all the way down to almost nothing. It's like, okay. So once we got to the bottom of that and got my thyroid together, then it was like, okay, what am I going to do with this weight? And so now, fast forward from March till December, I had gastric bariatric surgery. And, you know, so I've been dropping a lot of weight since then. But it was really important to focus on my weight, with in addition of anything else we got hit with last year and what I'm dealing with as we speak. So, and I said all of that to ask you, in the midst of your father passing away, in the midst of the estate, dealing with the estate, in dealing with your professional life, personally, your health, have you considered it? How, and if so, what are you doing to take care of yourself physically and mentally?
So the first thing that I noticed that changed a lot is my sleeping habits. And my thyroid too is not the best, because I'm not getting the adequate rest that I need.
Right.
So everything is all over the place. And yes, I'm going to the gym, I'm walking, I'm doing all that. But there was a point that 2021, so from 2021, 2022 to 2023 has been hell. And if people have watched my show, then they would know. Like, I gained probably about maybe 20 pounds because I was eating my feelings. Because I am that strong person where everyone can come to me.
Right.
But who the hell do I have to go to when everybody's in their mess?
Right.
In the thick of their mess. So I'm just like, well, freak it. And then I noticed I was eating horribly. So hence the gain, the 20 pounds.
Right.
And yeah, so now I cut out all the crap, stop eating my feelings. And then now, since, so you can imagine, I'm already blunt. Now I'm saying what I really feel and being brutally direct.
Well, you know what they call me at Blast. You know what they call my alter ego.
What?
I ain't gonna say it because the kids are in the room.
Oh.
I'll put it in the private chat. But you know, I haven't had regular coffee in like a month and a half. So you know, I'm on the verge of choking somebody as we speak. You know, it's like my first thought. I have to stop my first thought. My first thought is to choke them, and then I have to think about it. It's like, I am not losing all this weight to go to prison. So
I realized that I have never been one to placate to someone's feelings, although I consider their feelings. However, I warrant my response, and it's tailored to their actions in the moment.
Okay.
So the emotional eating came from the horrible relationship that I was in. And it's like, freak it. He's not listening. I got to figure out a plan. I got to do this. I got to do that. I'm no longer being considered. So you just eat anything,
Right.
all hours of the night, and that was just so not healthy.
Right.
Now it is, I'm surrendering or capitulating to insomnia. I'm just up because my brain is just overly active. It's overly stimulated by the thoughts, and still trying to sometimes get jumbled because I got so much going on. So then I took it out, and now I'm starting to journal, not my feelings, but just the issues that I have going on, or the situations and the potential outcomes, and what could I do, and if I am making it worse or am I making it better, because it's not to the point to where I'm going to concede to anything that is being asked for in my father's thing, but I'm trying to sweeten the deal so she can just go the hell away. Or, call one of my other cousins and let them have something to do with, the real Italians.
Okay, so first of all,
Yes.
the views and opinions do not reflect those of blastmusic247.com. And she was
I
just
think
kidding.
you guys created that disclaimer just because of me.
I will neither confirm or deny.
You did, because it didn't come about until one after one. And then, oh my gosh, she said that. So we need to bless. I hate fucking people.
I plead the fifth.
You don't have to when I already
1, 2, 3, 4,
know.
fifth.
Okay.
Anything you say fifth. So we got 4 minutes left.
But I'm doing better.
Good.
I'm not one to try to medicate. So
Right.
I don't overdrink. I'm not doing any drugs because I can't have anything altering my mind. My mind is the most beautiful thing that I have.
Right.
Absolutely. So I can't have anything altering that state.
Absolutely.
Inhibiting my ability to think clearly. So no drugs, and unless it's weed, but I'm not doing that right now either because I'm in the market for employment.
Yeah.
But yeah, so running, going to the gym, doing that type of work, taking those frustration out on workout equipment has been my best thing. I still can't get my mind to calm down, but it maybe reduce it all the way. Maybe it reduces it by 50%, which is great. And then the other is me, like I say, journaling and writing down certain possible case scenarios. I have sticky notes everywhere.
Right.
I have to remember to eat. So I set an alarm. Eat. Ask myself, have you drunk plenty of water? So I have these things. And then on Sundays, it's self-care Sunday. Well, I do nothing. So I had to create those little pockets of solitude since my space is being violated right now by Jordan. And that's another thing. I like my own space. I don't like anyone in my space. And then that's that situation. So it's a lot. But I am handling it. I don't say deal with, because dealing with something has a negative connotation for me.
Right.
It's like you're tolerating the situation.
Right.
So I'm handling it one situation at a time as it comes to me in a healthy aspect.
Right.
That is where my sun is coming. It's a sliver. I don't see the entire sun yet, but it's coming out.
Right. Well, I for one am thankful that you have, as the show says, you've been transparent, and because as a human being, we deal with certain things. But I feel like you have shared enough that, hey, it's like if Kelja can go through this and this is the way that she's, mapping her way through it, I'm hoping that, your situation will be a beacon for someone else to say, okay, I may not be able to do it exactly like Kelja, but at least I know that there's a way that, I need to start trying some stuff.
Yes, and then there is the saving grace of therapy.
Absolutely. And I had to start that this last year too, which I have to admit was very helpful.
Yes, because you have someone that is required by law not to pass judgment.
Right.
I was going to be a therapist, but that didn't work out too well.
Wait a minute. You know what? I'm sorry. I had to look down for a second because I don't have a poker face at all. All right. I don't have a poker face.
I was, but you know, my professor said I need to go into a different field. Hence, IT and healthcare mixed with healthcare. But yes, I wanted to be a psychologist.
Well, you know, you can look at this podcast as, you know, fulfilling that need in you. I
didn't say I needed that. I don't do no. Don't put words in my mouth.
Well, what you're not gonna do is get right up here at this last minute. Oh no. Doggone it. This ain't gonna be no House of Dragons episode.
Oh my God. You know, I finally finished that.
What'd you think? We can talk about that. We can talk about that after.
Okay. All right.
But this has been enlightening.
It has been, and thank you guys so much for listening, or thank you, Guy, one person, so much for listening, and all the ones that come back to actually look at a replay. I do realize that I have been MIA for a while, and yes, I've had personal things come back, but I am in a space to where I can talk about it, and everything is open and always transparent with me on things that I want to share.
Right.
So thank you so much for tuning in to another episode, in addition to Truth, Honesty, and Transparency with Kelja, the Princess Goddess, and
D-Ray, the producer.
We really do appreciate it. Thank you.
Peace.
What is true? What is true? What is true? Truth is love.